Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the support. Got some breaking news regarding Smile 3 and the development of Smile 3. I feel like the last time I talked about this film was at least 8 to 12 months ago, but some new rumors have emerged, just speculation at this point in time, so we're going to take it with a grain of salt, but I thought it was interesting and I want to talk on the potential direction of Smile 3. If you watched Smile 1 and Smile 2, then you know how Smile 2 ended. Really, Smile 2 was an extension of Smile 1, really opening up the world of the entity, and so I rated, I believe, both Smile films at a 75 out of 100, so 7.5 out of 10, and I preferred the first one because it was more grounded, right? More centered on a character living a normal lifestyle, where in the second one, you have a character named Sky Riley, who is a pop star, and the entity is now latched on to her, so the scope and the scale is a lot larger, and the film is much more extreme. A lot of twists in the film. Not going to talk about it too much if you haven't seen it, but I do recommend both Smile films. These are original horror films that actually started from a short film called Laura Hasn't Slept. And so, yeah, Smile is a very cool, underrated horror franchise that I think is going to continue to do good. But let's read into the news. Breaking major updates for upcoming Smile 3 film. The film is currently in active development at Paramount, but the record-breaking franchise is facing a major creative shakeup as the original director, Parker Finn, moves on to a new project. So the original director is not going to be part of the film. That is the direction that I think shakes things up, and it could be a negative thing. We've seen that before. You have someone that starts a project, the project's great, they may stay for maybe even 2-3 films, and then they leave, and then things kind of go in a different direction once the studio scrambles to put someone else in their position. It just doesn't have the same feel or the same touch. So I'm hoping they can find someone that can try to match Parker Finn's work on both films, because he's done a pretty good job, I must say. On the other hand, powerhouse star Jenna Ortega could be the new lead of the third film. That'd be very interesting. Star power there, a face that people know and recognize. That'd be interesting to see Jenna Ortega in Smile. Definitely a darker project for her, and she's been doing projects like that. I've talked about Jenna Ortega before and taking on these roles that actually put her in an adult situation, right? So Jenna Ortega, typically, because she looks a lot younger, plays almost people that are like teenage age, right? And she's been doing that. She's almost typecast, even though she does have talent to do different types of roles. And I feel like Smile 3 will be one of those films where she can actually step out of that teenage role for once and play a more adult-centric role, and something that's a little darker than what she's done before, because even though she has done dark roles, it's been stuff like Beetlejuice, Wednesday, and Death of a Unicorn that A24 put out. So I do want her to do some more mature roles. I did a whole video on Jenna Ortega. I called it the Jenna Ortega theory, so go watch that in the catalog. But this is saying that Jenna Ortega could be the new lead in the film. On top of the studio trying to find a new director to match the tone of the originals, the studio is determined to keep the momentum going after the massive success of the first 2 films. They are playing with house money. This next chapter will likely explore the origin of the entity in a much larger way, and we'll be waiting for new updates. Now, when they state that, if you've watched the first 2, like I said, you know that at the end of Smile 2, there's a lot of people that have potentially been blah, 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 blah. I don't want to go into it, right? And so if you understand the entity, you know what direction that's going in. But if they make this an origin story for the entity, that could be interesting. A prequel even to Laura Hasn't Slept. And so you could say it's a creative cop-out because they can't really add on to the events of Smile 2, like the after effects, because it's just so expansive. But I do think it'd be something that's interesting. Where did this entity come from? If you watched Smile 1, there's a particular scene where the main protagonist goes and takes a prison visit with someone that apparently had the entity and got the entity off of them. They were able to shake the curse. And in that conversation, there are some details revealed about the potential entity of that character, right? And the character is a supernatural character, the evil supernatural character. And so, yeah, let's see where this goes. It's very interesting. I'm definitely going to be watching Smile 3. Like I said, I watched both of these Smile films. I remember when the first one came out, and it was a good film. It was one of those films where when I saw the trailer, there was a particular scene in the trailer that really had me laughing with the main character and the sister there when she's in the car, and then her sister runs up to the car, and you think it's the sister, but it's not. But, you know, ever since I watched Smile, And then watch Smile 2. I've had nothing but a lot of fun with this film, and one of those pleasant surprises. You don't expect much from it. You've seen films like this where they try to take a shot in an original direction and the film just can't do it. The writing's not there. Maybe the direction's not there. All types of things can get in the way, but I think Smile is one of those ones where it cracked through, and you usually see that in the horror genre. So I want them to be able to continue it, but I also want them to continue to keep up the quality of the first two Smile films, which I think are decent enough and good for the horror genre. Ladies and gents, let me know what you think about this news. A new director for Smile 3, potentially Jenna Ortega to star in Smile 3, and the direction of the story. I want to hear your thoughts on that. I will definitely be getting updates, and I'll keep everybody updated. Please ring the bell for notifications to stay updated. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment down below, share this video, and be safe. It's Neff signing off.